What's going on, everybody? Today's topic is going to be about the weather manipulation machine, what I call the WMM. The WMM is back at it again. This isn't quite sports related, so you're probably thinking, what is this guy getting at? Well, yeah, I got to share this. It's just something I've been thinking about for a while. Is anybody going to talk about this? The weather manipulation machine? I mean, I don't know if you call it that, but I call it that. The weather manipulation machine. I have another syllable attached to it, but I'm not going to get to it right now. It precedes the word weather. But my thing is, a couple weeks ago, I had this video I was going to do. I was talking like 15 minutes. I said, you know what the hell? Whatever. I'm just going to not talk about it. I didn't post it. I just didn't think anybody would know what the heck I'm talking about, or I just wasn't feeling it. But I was thinking how this big snowstorm came out. This big snowstorm came. This was a couple weeks ago, and the area is still covered in snow, which is cool. Nothing wrong with that. I like the optics. Looks nice. You know, it's winter. We want to. I think we want to see the elements. We like the elements. Although we haven't had a real wintry winter in a while, it feels like it's just hasn't been. I understand the seasons have seemed to change a little bit. It doesn't seem to get really warm, consistently hot and warm until like June. Doesn't seem to like get cold until like November now. I don't know. Is that normal? I remember, I just feel like things are shifting. I remember when it used to be nice and warm in April, May. I guess it could say I guess it determines. I guess it's predicated on what you consider warm. Maybe some people see it differently, but I just remember, just things like takes a little while now, and things are shifting. This chair, I can't. So last weekend, a couple weekends ago, it snowed, and they were warning everybody. In the beginning, it was like, it might snow, and then it's like middle of the week, it's like, it's gonna be a big storm. Everybody better go out and get some stuff. And then like even closer to the weekend, it was like, definitely, everyone was going out, getting their stuff, getting all their groceries, because, when it snows now, or everyone panics, everybody goes through a panic. They expect that, any type of inclement weather, you better hurry up because the door is not going to open. The snow's going to be so high you can't even get outside the house. It's almost, people get into that mode. I'm sure a lot of people thought this. I don't understand why panic for 1 or 2 days. Like, you never had anything in your fridge before? You got to go out and get packs of toilet paper because you'll never be able to leave the house for as long as that toilet paper is still there. Like, you need to buy 18 rolls of toilet paper. I just find that the immediate overreaction to things, the immediate, like, it's panic, it's going to be the worst thing ever. I remember being a kid and the blizzard of 96. Like, we used to get crushed with snow. That was such a fun time. You used to build the snowman. You build the igloo. Well, we built the igloo, big ass igloo. 3-4 people could be in there. I had such a great childhood. But back then, I remember when there used to snow. There wasn't panic. Everybody would take it normal, and it wasn't even a guaranteed snow day. It had to be like, I don't know, there's not enough inches on the ground. Even if it was a nice solid dusting, everything is white. It was still a good chance snow was going to happen. Then eventually it started loosening up. Past like post high school for me. I mean, like past that, but it started loosening up. It's like, a little bit of snow, canceled. And I was like, this is canceled? You guys got no schools because of this? Well, the kids have no school because of that? It just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Something changed. So all these things, obviously, there's a few things. So it's my thoughts on the weather. So a couple of weeks ago, I said that they mean the powers that be. We don't know who they are, but the powers that be somehow, some way found a way for the AFC and NFC championship weekend to now be donned a holiday weekend. I have a feeling going forward, every year going forward, there's going to be a way, somehow, some way, the weekend to decide the participants in the Super Bowl is always going to be a weekend that has inclement weather. I'm just going to make that prediction now. Maybe I'm wrong. I would like to be wrong. I don't care. I don't want to be wrong. But if that's, in this case, whatever. But I'm just thinking, like, how the heck did it fall perfectly on Sunday? Everyone's preparing for the big storm. So I call it a holiday in the sense where everybody goes out. And what do you do when it's a holiday? You go out, you do a big shop. You're expecting to be competing or being out there with a lot of people because it's a holiday and everybody needs to get stuff for the house. And what does everybody do? They stay indoors, they cook, they put the TV on, and they gather around the entertainment. So January 25th, 2026 was a holiday because they had the weather to match the event. The weather was like everybody, no one's hanging out with 10 inches of snow on the ground, right? And no one's hanging out and driving around with that weather like that. And also, there was a game. There was like America's watching football to see who decides the game, who's going to the Super Bowl. So the weather and the event was perfect. So I call it a holiday. So I wonder going forward how often that's going to happen. I really am curious about that. So that's something I'm going to keep note of. Obviously, we have to wait a whole year to figure it out. But I just feel like the weather is always, I say, manipulated to like whatever's happening in the world. It's almost like when there's something that everybody has to be together for, the weather will call for everyone to be together, to not be out there. When the weather is like beautifully, it's like Labor Day weekend. I remember I could have sworn that leading up to Memorial Day weekend this year, that the weather 2025, that the weather was like wasn't very good. And then like when it's time for the holiday to be celebrated, bang! It's beautiful. It's beautiful. What are we talking about? The last few weekends have been bad, but this weekend is absolutely spectacular. And then it reverts back to being not so good. Maybe it's me. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off my shit. Why I've never been on this shit to begin with. Alright, so point is, that happened a couple weeks ago. Last weekend, unassuming, nothing. Nah, no one better than I. It was a beautiful weekend. If I can remember even something as short as just a few days ago, I remember it being just a fine weekend. Nothing really was wrong with it. But what happens now this weekend? Remember, there was no football last. Remember the Pro Bowl, but who cares about that? And now, it's Super Bowl. And they're being warned. I took a few screenshots in this week. It's going to be dangerous on Sunday. It's going to be, the trees are going to fall. Power lines are going to fall. There's going to be no power possibly. Your tree is going to snap. Every tree down the road is going to snap. The wind is going to blow your roof off. And I would advise everybody to not go anywhere. So get everything you need. Stay inside. And remember, the Super Bowl was on Sunday. The worst day of the year. The 20 degrees, cold, wind chill, hypothermia possibilities. Stay indoors. But get your stuff today. Because it's going to be dangerous tomorrow. And when you're indoors and you're with your family, turn on that Super Bowl and watch the game. And remember, Bad Bunny's playing. He doesn't speak English. So we got to make sure that everyone's upset about that too. Because remember, good press or bad press, it's all thrown together. It's still press. I learned that in college. Or at least that's what they said in college. At least it raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah, that's not wrong. I forgot the name of that class. I took that like three times. Professional development. I should have took that as a sign of things to come. Forgive me. But I just not built the same way other people were built. We're all different in some way. I'm not going to go down that detour. Point is, the weather manipulation machine, I believe, is alive and well. I remember even a few years ago, there was like some English guy, they're showing you this stuff. He was in this big field and he was behind this big mechanism. He's like, you see this behind me? You see this beautiful day and you see this machine? Watch what happens. I'm paraphrasing. The machine goes on and then the whole atmosphere became cloudy. And the day switched like that in a matter of minutes. Showing you a weather manipulation machine. So now I call it the weather manipulation machine. That was years ago. I'm sure we are well past, well advanced in technology to control the weather patterns. And there already are some type of whispers. You're going to hear, I'm sure, more about it going forward. All I'm saying is the weather, I just want to say this. I say all that to say this. The weather manipulation machine is back at it again. And it's working perfectly in time for the Super Bowl. I'll be back actually with a Super Bowl video, but we'll get to that in a moment. I'm just saying, WMM.